Welcome to this deep dive curated just for you. Today we're going to be exploring Ellen G. White's views on education, specifically from her book, Education. Now, you might be thinking, hold on, wasn't she a religious figure?
Right.
And yes, she was a prolific writer and influential figure, but for this deep dive, we're focusing solely on her educational philosophy.
Okay.
Think of it like a treasure hunt.
Digging
Through her ideas to find those golden nuggets of wisdom that we can apply today.
Yeah.
And trust me, there's some real gems in here.
I bet.
We're talking about a connection between education and redemption.
Yeah.
The importance of nature as a classroom, and even some surprising warnings about trends that can hinder true learning.
Interesting. It's fascinating how White approached education.
Yeah.
Not as a traditional educator, but as a deep student of the Bible. She believed God himself established the blueprints for true learning, and that those blueprints are just as relevant today as they were thousands of years ago.
So we're going way beyond textbooks and classrooms here.
Exactly.
This is about the big picture.
Yeah.
The grand design of education.
Exactly.
Okay.
White starts with what she calls the Eden model. Essentially what education looked like in the Garden of Eden.
Okay.
Picture this.
Okay.
Adam and Eve.
Yeah.
Learning directly from their creator, surrounded by the beauty of nature. Their classroom was the entire earth, designed to reflect God's glory.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
So family was the first school.
Yeah.
And nature was the textbook.
That's right.
That's a pretty amazing concept.
It is.
Yeah.
Think about it. Every element of creation held a lesson, revealing God's wisdom and character. White even describes Adam and Eve conversing with all living creatures.
Wow.
Learning the secrets of life from the tiniest insect to the largest animal.
That's amazing.
Talk about a holistic education.
It's a beautiful image, this perfect harmony. But then, of course, sin entered the picture.
Right.
What happened to this model after the fall?
Well, sin disrupted that direct connection with God.
Okay.
And, as White puts it, marred the perfection of nature.
Right.
However, she emphasizes that even in our fallen world, God's design for education remains relevant.
Okay.
The blueprint is still there.
Gotcha.
We may not have the Garden of Eden anymore.
Right.
But the core principles, learning through nature, the importance of family, and that connection with the divine, are timeless.
So it's like we have to rebuild based on the original design and adapting it to our current circumstances.
That's a good way to put it.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this connects to today.
Yeah.
But White doesn't stop at Eden, right?
Right.
She also dives into the educational journey of ancient Israel.
Yes. And this is where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
White saw God's intention for Israel to be a model nation,
right,
reflecting his character to the world. She even points to verses in Deuteronomy where God promises to elevate them above all nations if they follow his blueprint.
Wow.
Education for them wasn't just about individual growth.
Okay.
It was about shaping their destiny as a nation.
So how did their educational system work? Is it anything like what we see today?
There were some familiar elements.
Okay.
Like parents being the first instructors.
Yeah.
Both in practical skills and spiritual matters.
Right.
But there were also unique aspects.
Okay.
Like the schools of the prophets.
Right.
Think of them as centers for spiritual and practical training, where future leaders were mentored.
Right.
For example, Elisha learned from the prophet Elijah.
Okay.
And it wasn't just about religious teachings.
Right.
They also covered music,
wow,
poetry, and even agriculture.
Wow. A well-rounded education, even back then.
Right.
And what about the feasts?
Okay.
I've always thought of those as religious celebrations. What's their connection to education?
This is where White's perspective really surprised me.
Okay.
She argues that the feasts were essentially month-long educational events.
Wait, feasts were like month-long educational events?
Yeah.
I never thought of it that way.
It was pretty amazing.
What exactly were they doing during these feasts?
It was hands-on learning at its best.
Okay.
Imagine witnessing the Exodus story performed live.
Wow.
Or learning about harvest through the rituals of the Feast of Tabernacles.
Okay.
It wasn't just sitting in a classroom.
Right.
It was woven into the fabric of their lives.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So White is saying that education was truly integrated into their culture.
Exactly.
But she also draws a connection between their education and the fate of their nation, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And here's the cautionary part.
Okay.
White argues that when Israel strayed from God's educational blueprint, turning away from his principles and embracing the ways of other nations.
Right.
It led to their downfall. It's like she's saying education isn't just about personal success. It shapes a nation's character and ultimately its destiny.
It makes you think about the impact of education on society as a whole, not just on individuals.
Exactly.
It's a sobering thought. But White doesn't just stop at these big picture historical examples.
Right.
She also dives into the personal stories of some pretty well-known biblical figures.
That's right.
Okay.
She uses figures like Joseph, Daniel, Elisha, Moses, and even Paul to illustrate how their education, both formal and informal, molded them into the leaders they became.
Okay.
And it's not all sunshine and roses.
Right.
She highlights how hardship, not privilege,
interesting,
forged resilience in these biblical leaders.
Okay.
This challenges the modern notion that education is about ease and comfort.
I'm starting to see a pattern here. It's not just about what, it's about who you become through the process of learning.
Exactly.
Can you give us a few specific examples of how White connects these stories to her philosophy?
Take Joseph, for instance.
Okay.
He faces incredible temptations and challenges in Egypt, a foreign land far from his family and everything he knew.
Right.
White points out that the foundation of his character, his ability to withstand those trials, was laid long before he ever set foot in Egypt.
Interesting.
It was his upbringing, his connection with God that gave him that inner strength.
It's like that saying, the roots of true achievement lie in the soil of early training.
That's good.
So education isn't just about what happens in a classroom.
Right.
It's about the values, the habits, and the relationships that shape us from our earliest years.
Exactly.
And then you have Daniel facing similar tests of faith in the Babylonian court.
Right.
Imagine being a young man ripped from your homeland and surrounded by a culture completely at odds with your beliefs.
Right.
Yet Daniel stays true to his convictions, even when his life is on the line.
Right.
White argues that his education, his deep understanding of God's principles, is what gave him that unwavering strength. Both powerful stories of resilience, but it's not always about facing external pressures, right? She also highlights figures who learned through service and mentorship.
Absolutely. She talks about Elisha, who dedicated himself to serving the prophet Elijah, learning through humble tasks and unwavering commitment.
Wow.
And of course, there's Moses.
Right.
His transformation from a prince in Egypt to a shepherd in the wilderness was essential preparation for leading his people to freedom.
Right.
Each of these stories highlights a different facet of White's educational philosophy. It's about character development, resilience, aligning your life with God's purpose.
Right.
It's not just about acquiring knowledge. It's about becoming the person you were meant to be.
It's a powerful message.
It isn't.
White connects these ancient stories to our lives today, challenging us to think about how these principles can shape our own approach to learning and personal growth.
That's right.
And it doesn't stop there.
Right.
White takes her exploration even further by dedicating a whole section to Christ as the ultimate educator.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Okay, now that's an interesting concept.
It is.
How does she portray Jesus as an educator? Was he really a traditional teacher?
It goes deeper than that.
Okay.
White believes that all true education finds its center in Christ.
Okay.
She even references Revelation, where Jesus is called the Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end.
Okay.
To support her point that he is the source and goal of all true learning.
So she's not just talking about religious education.
Right.
She's suggesting that everything we learn in any field should ultimately lead us back to Christ.
That's right.
That's a pretty bold statement.
It is.
And to support this, she points out how Jesus' life and teachings provide a timeless model for learning and development.
Right.
His methods, White argues, offer practical lessons for every circumstance.
That's right.
No matter what field you're in or what challenges you face.
Right.
Give me an example.
Okay.
What were some of those methods that she highlights?
Well, she emphasizes how Jesus used everyday life, nature, and parables to teach profound truths in a way that resonated with people from all walks of life. He met people where they were,
right,
using language and examples they could understand.
It wasn't about abstract theories or theological jargon.
Exactly.
He connected with their hearts, making truth applicable to everyday life. It reminds me of her emphasis on nature as God's classroom. We talked about it a bit in the context of Eden.
Yeah.
But how does White develop this idea further?
She believes that the natural world is filled with divine instruction.
Okay.
Nature reveals God's character, his laws, even the consequences of sin.
Interesting.
Think of it like nature is a living textbook.
Yeah.
Just waiting to be deciphered.
That's a great way to put it.
Thanks.
What are some specific examples she uses? I'm curious to see how she connects nature to spiritual truths.
She's a master of vivid descriptions and analogies.
Okay.
For example, she compares a thirsty traveler finding a palm tree in the desert to finding solace in faith.
Wow.
Or she talks about the rainbow as a symbol of God's covenant.
Okay.
The stars as a message of hope. And the eagle soaring above a storm as a metaphor for overcoming challenges.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
It's like she's challenging us to see the world through a different lens.
Right.
To recognize the spiritual truths being revealed all around us. It's a call to pay attention, to be present in the moment, and to really see the world as God's classroom.
That's right.
But this begs the question.
Okay.
How do we apply all this to our lives today?
And that brings us to White's practical application of these principles.
Okay.
Which we'll explore in the next part of our deep dive.
Sounds good.
Picking up where we left off, White doesn't shy away from the big questions.
Okay.
She challenges us to think about the purpose of all our striving, all our learning. She asks, if education is about preparing for eternity, how does this shift our perspective on what truly matters in learning and life?
Well, that's a huge question.
It is.
It completely changes the game.
Right.
We're not just talking about acing that test or getting that promotion.
Right.
She's talking about eternal significance.
Exactly. She invites us to think long term.
Okay.
To see our time on earth, including our educational journey, as preparation for something far greater, something that goes beyond this life.
It really makes you pause and examine your motivations.
Yeah.
If this life is a temporary stage, what are we really preparing for?
Right.
What are the things that will matter, not just now, but for eternity?
That's the challenge she throws down.
Yeah.
And it forces us to examine our values, our goals, everything.
Right.
But she doesn't just leave us with this huge question.
Okay.
White also offers guidance on how to practically live out this eternal perspective in our everyday lives.
Okay, so how do we do that? How do we apply this idea of preparing for eternity to our actual choices, to our education, to how we approach learning?
It starts with recognizing that true education isn't just about cramming our heads with facts.
Right.
It's about developing character, cultivating virtues, and learning to love and serve God and those around us.
So it's about becoming the kind of people who reflect Christ's character.
Yes.
Right? It's about using our knowledge and skills to make a real difference in the world, a difference that lasts.
Precisely. And it's about making choices aligned with this eternal perspective, choosing paths that not only lead to success in this world, but also prepare us for the next.
It makes you think about the long-term consequences of even seemingly small decisions. Like, wow, the choices I make today have implications that could literally last forever.
That's the shift in thinking White is prompting.
Wow.
It's about seeking wisdom, not just knowledge.
Right.
Allowing our learning to shape us into the people God wants us to be.
And this brings us back to her focus on character development as the core of true education.
Right.
She believed education should prepare us not just for a job, but for a life of purpose, meaning, and service to others.
That's right.
It's a reminder that our lives are part of something much bigger than ourselves. And our education, if we approach it the right way, can equip us to play our part in that bigger story, to make a contribution that truly ripples outward and lasts.
I like that.
But how does the Bible fit into all of this?
Okay.
We've touched on how White saw it as a source of wisdom, but how does she recommend actually using it in education?
She's a big proponent of deep and consistent engagement with Scripture.
Okay.
She encourages us to go beyond just reading to truly studying, meditating, and allowing its principles to shape our lives.
Okay.
It's about making the Bible a living part of our journey, not just a book on a shelf.
Well, it's not just about checking off a box like, okay, I read my Bible today.
Right.
It's about letting those truths sink in and actually impact how we think and live.
Exactly. Yeah. And she believed the Bible holds not just spiritual guidance, but practical wisdom for navigating life.
Okay.
Our relationships, our work, our finances, even our health.
So it's applicable to everything, not just religious stuff.
Yeah.
It becomes a guide for the whole journey of learning and living.
She saw it as an essential textbook for character development, for understanding how to live in harmony with God's design.
Right.
She believed it helped develop those virtues that lead to a truly fulfilling life.
It's like tapping into a source of wisdom that stood the test of time, helping us become the best versions of ourselves.
I like that.
And she doesn't just focus on personal study, right?
Right.
What does she say about teaching the Bible to others, particularly young people?
She encourages parents and teachers to make it central to their instruction.
Okay.
Share those stories, those principles, those lessons, but not in a boring way.
Right.
She advocated for making it interactive and engaging.
So less lecturing, more
Storytelling.
Storytelling, okay.
Exactly. Use storytelling music, even dramatization, to bring those stories to life.
Wow.
She also stressed connecting those ancient principles to real-life situations.
Right.
Help young people see how these truths are relevant to their everyday experiences and challenges.
It's about bridging that gap between ancient wisdom and modern life.
Yeah.
Showing that the Bible isn't outdated.
Yeah.
It actually holds incredibly relevant guidance.
She was also big on memorizing scripture, believed that hiding God's word in your heart would provide strength and guidance in times of need.
It's like building a reservoir of truth inside you that you can draw on whenever you need it.
Right.
Letting those words shape your thinking and guide your decisions.
Exactly.
But what about how we approach studying the Bible?
Okay.
Does she have anything to say about our attitude?
She emphasizes humility,
Okay.
recognizing that we come to the Bible as learners, seeking guidance from a source far greater than ourselves.
So it's not about approaching it with a know-it-all attitude.
Right.
It's about being open to being challenged, to growing in understanding, and recognizing there's always more to learn.
And she stresses the importance of prayer,
Okay.
acknowledging that we need God's help to truly understand and apply His word to our lives.
It becomes more than just an intellectual exercise then.
Right.
It's a spiritual discipline that requires relying on God,
Mm-hmm.
inviting Him into the process, asking Him to open our minds and hearts as we engage with His word.
She encourages us to approach the Bible not just with our minds, but with our hearts,
Right.
seeking a personal relationship with God through His word.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just about gaining knowledge. It's about experiencing transformation.
It's about letting those truths sink in and change us from the inside out.
Yeah.
Shaping our desires, motivating our actions, and ultimately drawing us closer to God.
That's right.
But White also places a lot of emphasis on practical skills and manual training.
Okay.
Now, this is a bit of a shift.
Yeah.
Why did she see this as so important, especially in a book about education?
She believed that education should equip us for the practical demands of life, not just intellectual pursuits.
Okay.
She argued that true education involved training both the mind and the hand.
So it's not just about being book smart.
Right.
It's about being able to actually do things to apply what you've learned in tangible ways that benefit yourself and your community.
Exactly.
Okay.
And she saw practical skills as essential for developing character.
Okay.
It fosters a sense of responsibility, a solid work ethic,
Right.
qualities that serve us well throughout life.
It's about recognizing the dignity of all work, whether it involves thinking or doing.
Mm-hmm.
It's about seeing your skills and abilities, however humble they might seem, as gifts to be used to bless others.
I like that.
Didn't she specifically advocate for agricultural training?
She did.
That seems like an unusual emphasis for a book about education.
She believed working with the land held unique benefits both physically and spiritually.
Okay.
She felt it fostered a connection with nature, a sense of stewardship, and a deeper understanding of God's creation.
It's such a countercultural message, especially in today's world.
Yeah.
We're so disconnected from nature,
Right.
so dependent on complex systems that we don't even understand.
Mm-hmm.
It's refreshing to hear her emphasize that connection with the land, that recognition of interdependence, and that call to take responsibility for our role in God's creation.
And she didn't limit it to agriculture. White advocated for incorporating manual training into all levels of education, encouraging students to learn trades and crafts.
So she envisioned a more holistic educational model, one that integrated both theoretical learning and practical application,
Exactly.
preparing students not just for academic success, but for a life of meaningful work and service.
Exactly.
She wasn't afraid to challenge those societal norms that look down on manual labor.
That's right.
She argued that any honest work, no matter the field, was dignified and should be honored. Mm-hmm. It's about recognizing the value of all contributions, no matter how humble they might seem.
And it brings dignity to all labor.
But White also had some pretty strong opinions about fashion, a topic you might not expect to find in a book about education.
Right.
What were her concerns about the influence of fashion, especially on young people?
She saw the pursuit of fashion as a distraction from true learning.
Okay.
A real hindrance to character development.
I can see that.
Yeah.
It's so easy to get caught up in keeping up with the latest trends, to focus on outward appearances instead of inner qualities. It can be all-consuming, especially for young people.
Exactly.
Okay.
She worried that the pressure to conform to these standards would lead to a shallow, unfulfilling life, diverting energy from cultivating inner virtues and pursuing a higher purpose.
So it's not really about the clothes themselves.
Right.
It's about the values driving our choices, the priorities that shape our actions.
She saw this obsession with fashion as a symptom of a deeper problem, a societal shift away from substance and character, toward a focus on image and superficiality.
It's a good reminder that true beauty isn't about what we wear, but about the qualities of the heart.
That's right.
Kindness, integrity, those virtues that reflect God's image in us. But she wasn't just critical.
Right.
What did she suggest as an antidote to these negative influences?
Okay.
How can we navigate this challenge in a way that promotes true education and character development?
She urged parents and educators to teach young people how to distinguish between true beauty and artificiality.
Okay.
Help them recognize that trends fade, but character endures. Encourage them to choose clothing and adornment that is modest, practical, and appropriate for their circumstances.
It's about promoting a sense of balance where outward appearance reflects inner values, not the other way around.
Right.
Okay.
She also emphasized cultivating contentment and gratitude, shifting the focus from material possessions to the things that truly matter.
Right.
Developing character, pursuing knowledge, serving others.
It's about helping young people find their worth and security, not in what they have or how they look, but in their relationship with God, their unique gifts and their contribution to the world.
That's good.
But White doesn't stop there.
Right.
She also talks about the importance of the Sabbath, something you might not immediately connect to education.
Right.
How does she tie these two together?
She believed the Sabbath was crucial for a balanced approach to education. It's a time to step back from the busyness of life and reconnect with our Creator.
Right.
A time to find renewal and inspiration for the week ahead.
It's a reminder that education encompasses more than just the mind and body, but the spirit as well.
Right.
Nurturing our connection with God should be a priority.
She saw the Sabbath as a unique opportunity to rest, reflect, and connect with God in a deeper way. A time to recharge those spiritual batteries and gain a fresh perspective on life and learning.
In a world that's constantly on live, demanding our time and attention, it's powerful to hear her emphasize the importance of rest.
Right.
Setting aside time for reflection and renewal is essential.
She encouraged families to make the Sabbath special.
Okay.
A time for spiritual growth, studying the Bible together, worshiping and connecting with nature in a way that fostered awe and wonder.
It's about creating a rhythm in life where our relationship with God is a priority. Our time on earth isn't just about working and achieving. It's about connecting with our Creator and finding our place in His grand design.
And she saw the Sabbath as a time for service.
Okay.
Encouraging families to reach out to those in need and share their blessings.
Right.
It's not just about inward reflection. It's about taking that love and renewal we experience and letting it flow outward.
So the Sabbath becomes this beautiful blend of rest, worship, reflection, and service, contributing to a balanced and fulfilling life. It's a life aligned with God's purposes, a life that brings Him glory. But what about discipline?
Okay.
How does White approach this topic, particularly in the context of education?
She believed discipline was essential for character development, but emphasized that it should always be administered with love, wisdom, and a focus on the child's well-being.
So she's not advocating for harsh punishments or authoritarian control?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
She distinguishes between true discipline, which is rooted in love and aimed at helping the child grow, and mere punishment, which is often driven by anger and can be damaging.
It's about respecting the dignity of the child, even when they mess up. Discipline becomes an opportunity for growth, not just a means of control or venting frustration.
Exactly.
But didn't she have some pretty strong views on what constituted appropriate discipline?
She was a strong advocate for consistency.
Okay.
Clear boundaries and predictable consequences were vital for helping children develop self-control and a sense of responsibility.
It creates a safe and stable environment.
Yeah.
Children know what's expected of them and understand the natural consequences of their choices.
Yep.
But it's not just about laying down the law, right?
Right.
She also talks about involving the child in the process.
Exactly.
Okay.
She stressed explaining the reasons for the rules, helping them understand the impact of their actions.
Right.
It's not about imposing your will.
Yeah.
It's about engaging their minds and hearts.
It's about helping them develop that internal compass, that desire to do what's right, because they understand WHY it's right, not just because they're afraid of getting in trouble.
That's good.
White seemed to have a deep understanding of child development.
She did.
She also talks about the importance of recognizing and nurturing each child's unique individuality.
She firmly believed that each child is created in God's image, endowed with unique gifts, talents, and potential just waiting to be unfolded.
So it's not about trying to fit everyone into the same mold, expecting them to achieve the same things or follow the same path.
Exactly.
Okay.
She warned against comparing and competing because each child develops at their own pace and excels in different areas.
It's about celebrating the diversity of gifts and talents within a classroom. True success isn't about being the best.
Right.
It's about becoming the best version of yourself.
And she urged parents and educators to really study each child.
Okay.
Observe their strengths, interests, and learning styles. Tailor instructions to meet their individual needs.
It's about recognizing that one size doesn't fit all when it comes to education.
Right.
Each child's journey should be as unique as they are.
And above all, she stressed nurturing a love for learning in each child.
Okay.
Encourage them to explore their passions, discover their gifts, and pursue their interests with enthusiasm.
It's about creating a learning environment where it's not a chore, but an adventure.
Exactly.
A journey of discovery that sparks curiosity and unfolds the unique potential within each child.
She was a strong advocate for providing opportunities for students to develop their talents, not just in academics, but also in areas like music, art, and practical skills.
It sounds like she envisioned an educational system that nurtured the whole person, recognizing that success is about so much more than grades or test scores.
Precisely.
Okay.
She was all about developing well-rounded individuals who are equipped to contribute to society in all sorts of ways,
Right.
using their unique gifts to make a positive difference.
Now, White also emphasized the importance of collaboration in education. Why did she believe that parents, teachers, and the community all needed to work together? What roles did she see each playing in a child's development?
She believed that education wasn't just the school's responsibility or the teachers.
Right.
It was a shared responsibility that involved parents, the home, the church, and the wider community.
So it's about creating this supportive ecosystem around each child,
Right.
recognizing that everyone has a part to play.
She saw parents as the primary educators.
Okay.
They lay the foundation of character, instill values, and create a home environment that's conducive to learning.
It's a reminder that education starts at home long before a child ever steps foot in a classroom.
That's right.
The values and habits cultivated in the family have a huge impact.
Teachers, she believed, were partners with parents.
Okay.
They worked together to nurture intellectual, social, and spiritual development.
It's a team effort ensuring a smooth transition between home and school.
Yeah.
Both parents and teachers are working toward the same goal, helping that child reach their full potential.
And the church, she emphasized, plays a key role in providing spiritual guidance, moral instruction, and opportunities for service.
It highlights how education is more than just academics.
Right.
It's about nurturing the whole person, preparing them for a life of purpose and meaning.
And she saw the wider community as providing resources, opportunities, and a supportive environment for the child to thrive.
It takes a village, as they say.
Right.
It's recognizing that we're all in this together, working to shape the next generation.
She was a huge advocate for open communication and collaboration between these different groups.
Okay.
She believed that partnership was essential for creating a holistic and effective educational experience for every child.
It's about breaking down those silos, realizing that everyone has something to offer, and creating a network that empowers children to succeed.
Right.
White also had some strong opinions about choosing the right educational environment.
She did.
What factors did she emphasize when it came to selecting a school or learning setting?
She believed that environment plays a massive role in a child's development.
Right.
She emphasized choosing a setting that wasn't just academically sound, but also morally and spiritually nurturing.
So it's about more than just finding a school with a good academic reputation.
Exactly.
It's about finding a place where a child's character will be strengthened, their values will be reinforced, and their spiritual growth will be nurtured.
She strongly advocated for schools grounded in Christian principles, believing those institutions provided the best foundation for a well-rounded education.
It's about understanding that education isn't just about filling minds with information.
Right.
It's about shaping hearts, forming character, and preparing children for lives that reflect purpose and meaning.
But she also acknowledged that not all children thrive in the same type of environment.
Right, of course.
She stressed the importance of finding a good fit for the child's individual needs and learning style.
Yeah.
She recognized that what works for one child might not be the best for another.
So it's about paying attention to that child's personality, their strengths and weaknesses, their learning preferences.
Yeah.
It's about finding an educational setting that will nurture their individual gifts.
She urged parents to be discerning to carefully evaluate a school's values and atmosphere before entrusting their child to its care.
It's about being proactive, taking the time to visit, talk to teachers, observe classrooms, and get a feel for the overall culture.
She also emphasized considering the social environment of a school, recognizing how influential peers can be on child's development.
It's about finding a place with positive influences, where kids are encouraged to make good choices and are supported in striving for excellence.
Right.
And didn't she also believe that the ideal learning environment would extend beyond the classroom?
Absolutely.
Okay.
She envisioned a setting that included opportunities to connect with nature, engage in physical activity, and develop practical skills.
Okay.
She didn't want learning confined to four walls.
Her vision for education was so holistic, wasn't it? It wasn't just about textbooks and lectures. It was about experiencing life, engaging all the senses, and learning through doing.
Exactly.
She saw the ideal school as a place where a child's whole being would be nurtured, their intellect, their physical health, their social skills, and their spiritual development.
That's right.
It's about preparing them to live balanced, fulfilling, and purposeful lives.
It's a beautiful vision of what education can be.
It is.
Yeah.
But speaking of holistic development, White also talked about the importance of teaching children about the natural world.
Right.
We've talked about nature as a classroom.
Yeah.
But what specific recommendations did she have for incorporating nature into education?
Okay.
What benefits did she see in connecting children with the natural world?
She believed that nature was a powerful teacher, capable of revealing God's character, wisdom, and love in ways no textbook ever could.
It's about recognizing that learning doesn't just happen in a classroom.
Right.
The natural world offers endless opportunities for exploration, discovery, and wonder.
She encouraged parents and teachers to take children out into nature, explore forests, fields, mountains, oceans, observe plants and animals, and experience the beauty of God's creation firsthand.
It's about awakening the senses, stimulating curiosity, and nurturing that sense of awe and wonder that inspires learning.
Right.
But it's not just about appreciation, right?
Right.
She also saw nature as a tool for teaching spiritual lessons.
Exactly.
Okay.
She encouraged using nature as a springboard for helping children see God's hand in the beauty of a flower, the intricacy of a spider's web, the vastness of the starry sky.
It's about connecting the dots between the natural world and the spiritual realm.
Right.
Helping children see God as the creator of all things and recognize that his love and wisdom are reflected in every part of his creation.
Yeah.
And she believed that time spent in nature wasn't just educational, but also restorative, right?
Oh, absolutely.
A chance to get some fresh air, be active, and de-stress.
In today's world where technology and screens dominate so much of our time, it's easy to forget the simple pleasures and benefits of being in nature.
Right.
White understood that connection was vital. It refreshes our minds, renews our spirits, and ultimately draws us closer to God.
She really had a holistic view of education, didn't she?
She did.
It's not just about academics. It's about nurturing the whole person, including their physical health. What were her thoughts on health education?
Okay.
What were some of the key principles she emphasized?
She believed that good health was a gift from God, a precious treasure we're responsible for taking care of.
Okay.
Health education, she believed, was crucial for equipping children with the knowledge and habits they need to live long, healthy, and productive lives.
It's about recognizing that our bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit entrusted to us to care for and use for God's glory.
She was a big advocate for temperance, emphasizing moderation in all things. Eating, drinking, even exercise, excess in any area can be detrimental to our well-being.
So it's about developing a lifestyle of balance-making choices that support our overall health, not just avoiding obviously harmful things.
She stressed the importance of a healthy diet, encouraging the consumption of whole, unprocessed foods, and advocating for a plant-based approach to eating.
It's about recognizing the connection between what we put into our bodies and how we feel, choosing foods that nourish and promote optimal health.
Physical activity was another key element.
Right.
She encouraged children to get outdoors, play, participate in sports, anything to strengthen their bodies and develop their physical coordination.
We're designed to move to be active.
Yes.
A sedentary lifestyle leads to all sorts of problems.
She also emphasized getting enough rest.
Okay.
Our bodies need time to recover and rebuild.
It's a message we need to hear in our culture that often glorifies busyness and pushing ourselves to the limit.
Right.
We need to prioritize rest and allow ourselves time to recharge. What else did she emphasize?
Cleanliness was important to her, both personal and environmental.
Okay.
A clean and orderly environment promotes health and well-being.
It's about building healthy habits, taking care of our surroundings, and creating spaces that support our health. But White didn't just focus on the physical aspects of health.
Right.
She also recognized the importance of mental and emotional well-being.
She understood that true health encompasses the whole person, mind, body, and spirit. She believed that stress, anxiety, and negative emotions could impact our physical health just as much as poor diet or lack of exercise.
So it's not just about what we eat or how much we exercise. It's about cultivating a positive mental and emotional state as well.
Exactly.
But how did she suggest we achieve that? What were some of her recommendations for promoting mental and emotional health?
She emphasized the importance of cultivating a positive outlook on life, focusing on the good, practicing gratitude, and choosing to see challenges as opportunities for growth.
It's about reframing our perspective, shifting our focus from what's wrong to what's right.
She also stressed the importance of spending time in nature.
Okay.
Recognizing its calming and restorative effects on the mind and spirit.
It's about connecting with the peace and beauty of the natural world, allowing ourselves to be refreshed and renewed by God's creation.
She encouraged developing healthy coping mechanisms for stress, such as exercise, spending time with loved ones, pursuing hobbies, and engaging in creative activities.
It's about finding healthy outlets for stress and tension, activities that bring us joy and help us recharge. But she also recognized that sometimes we need help from others to maintain our mental and emotional health.
Absolutely.
Okay.
She wasn't afraid to talk about the importance of seeking professional help when needed, recognizing that sometimes we need guidance and support from those trained to help us navigate difficult emotions and challenging situations.
It's about recognizing that asking for help is a sign of strength, not weakness, and that there's no shame in seeking support when we need it.
White's approach to health education was truly comprehensive, wasn't it? It wasn't just about physical health, but about nurturing the whole person, promoting balance in all areas of life.
But she also recognized that even with the best education, children would still face challenges and temptations in the world.
That's right.
How does she suggest we prepare them for that?
She believed it was crucial to educate children about the very real dangers that exist. To equip them with knowledge and discernment and help them develop the strength of character to resist those negative influences.
So it's not about sheltering them from the realities of the world, but about giving them the tools and the strength to navigate those realities wisely.
She emphasized building a strong foundation of moral principles, teaching right from wrong, instilling a love for what is good and true.
It's about helping them develop that inner compass, that conscience that will guide their decisions.
And she stressed the importance of a personal relationship with God. She recognized that true strength of character comes from being connected to our Creator.
We're not strong enough to resist temptation on our own. We need God's help, His guidance and His strength to make wise choices and stay on the right path.
She encouraged parents and teachers to have open and honest conversations with children about the challenges they'll face. Providing age-appropriate information about things like drugs, alcohol, pornography, those harmful influences.
It's about creating that safe space for children to ask questions and get the information they need to make healthy choices.
And she stressed the importance of modeling those healthy choices.
Right.
Children learn more from what they see than what they're told.
It's a reminder that we have a huge responsibility to live out the values we want to instill in the children around us.
She believed that with knowledge, discernment, strong moral principles, and a personal relationship with God, children would be prepared to face life's challenges and make choices that lead to a fulfilling future.
It's a powerful reminder that education isn't just about stuffing minds with facts.
Right.
It's about shaping hearts, cultivating character, and preparing the whole person for a life of purpose and service.
And that brings us to one of White's most challenging observations.
Okay.
The need to prepare children not just for success in this world, but for eternity.
Now, that's a weighty topic.
It is.
How did White approach this idea of preparing for eternity?
Yeah.
What practical steps did she recommend?
She believed our time on earth is a temporary journey, preparation for a life that extends beyond this world.
Right.
She saw education as a vital part of that preparation, not just for developing our minds and bodies, but for shaping our character and deepening our relationship with God.
It puts things in perspective.
Yeah.
Our choices today have implications that stretch far beyond our earthly lifespan.
She encouraged parents and educators to teach children about heaven and hell, helping them understand the consequences of their choices. And inspiring them to live in a way that prepares them for eternal life with God.
It's about having those conversations that matter, helping children develop a perspective that embraces the eternal.
She also stressed the importance of a personal relationship with Jesus Christ, knowing that He is the only way to salvation and a life surrendered to Him is the only true preparation for eternity.
It's a reminder that true education is about more than just acquiring knowledge.
Right.
It's about a transformation of the heart, a renewal of the mind, and a surrender to Jesus as Lord.
She encouraged children to make a decision to follow Christ,
Okay.
to dedicate their lives to serving Him and living in a way that honored Him, preparing them for His return.
It's about understanding that education isn't just about a career or worldly success, but about a life filled with purpose, meaning, and joy.
That's right.
It's a powerful message.
It is.
But White also had some interesting things to say about the kind of literature we should be exposing children to. In today's world where we're bombarded with media, this feels especially relevant.
Right.
What guidance did she offer for choosing books and other forms of media that would nurture a child's mind and heart?
She believed the literature we choose for children has a huge impact. It shapes their imaginations, influences their values, and molds their character.
Right.
She encouraged parents and educators to be incredibly discerning, to choose books and media that uplift the mind, inspire the heart, and cultivate a love for what's good, true, and beautiful.
So it's not just about finding books that are entertaining or even educational in a narrow sense.
Right.
It's about choosing stories that nourish the soul and inspire a love for virtue.
She was particularly cautious about sensational, frivolous, or morally questionable material.
Okay.
She believed it could desensitize children to violence, distort their understanding of relationships, and weaken their moral compass.
It's about being aware of the messages, both explicit and implicit, in the media children are consuming.
Exactly.
Not all stories are created equal.
Right.
Some can have a negative effect.
She was a strong advocate for choosing literature that upholds high moral standards, portraying characters who exemplify virtue and integrity and inspire readers to strive for excellence in their own lives.
So it's not just about avoiding the bad, but actively seeking out the good.
Exactly.
Stories that will nourish the imagination and inspire a love for what is true and beautiful.
She loved nature stories, biographies of great men and women, and historical accounts that highlighted the triumphs of the human spirit and God's providence.
It's about exposing children to a wide range of genres and styles, but always choosing those that uplift the mind, inspire the heart, and reinforce positive values.
And she believed that the best literature wouldn't just entertain and educate, but would draw children closer to God, inspiring them to live lives of faith, service, and love.
It's about recognizing the power of stories to shape our understanding of the world, inspire us to greatness, and connect us to something larger than ourselves.
That's a good way to put it.
But White also connects education to something even bigger, preparing for the second coming of Christ.
Right.
How does she tie those two together?
She believed the second coming of Christ is the ultimate goal of history, the culmination of God's plan for humanity.
Okay.
It's the event all true education should be pointing toward. She saw education not just as personal growth or societal advancement, but as preparation for meeting our Creator and entering into a new era of existence.
It's about recognizing that our time on Earth isn't just about acquiring knowledge or achieving worldly success.
Right.
It's about preparing for an eternal destiny.
She encouraged parents and educators to teach children about the prophecies of the Second Coming.
Okay.
Help them understand the signs of the times and inspire them to live in a state of readiness, prepared to meet their Savior at any moment.
It's about instilling that sense of regency, that understanding that time is precious, and we must make the most of every opportunity to prepare ourselves and those we love for that moment.
She also emphasized the importance of developing a character that aligns with God's will, recognizing that only those who are pure in heart, righteous in conduct, and loving in spirit will be welcomed into his kingdom.
It's about recognizing that true education isn't just about accumulating knowledge.
Right.
It's about transforming hearts, aligning our lives with God's purposes, and becoming the people He desires us to be.
She saw education as a process of sanctification, a journey of growth and transformation that prepares us for eternal fellowship with God.
It's a powerful vision of what education can be.
It is.
It's about recognizing the eternal significance of our lives, making choices that align with God's will, and experiencing the joy and fulfillment that come from living in harmony with our Creator, both now and forevermore.
Well said.
Wow, what an incredible journey this deep dive has been.
It has.
We've explored so many facets of Ellen G. White's educational philosophy, from the Garden of Eden to the Second Coming.
Yeah.
From practical skills to the importance of character development.
It's a testament to the breadth and depth of her thinking, and a reminder that true education encompasses far more than we often realize.
I feel like I have a whole new perspective on learning and on life itself.
Me too.
I hope our listeners feel the same way.
If you're interested in exploring these ideas further, I encourage you to read White's book, Education.
It's a great book.
It's full of wisdom and insights that are just as relevant today as they were when she wrote them.
Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive into Ellen G. White's perspective on education.
Okay.
We hope you found it enlightening and that it sparked some new thoughts and ideas about what truly matters in learning and life.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time.